All right. Once again, guys, I appreciate you inviting me to speak here at Girls Rock Camp for Detroit and Rochester. And my name is Planet Venus, keyboardist with TxLips, TxLips Nation, stand up. How y'all doing? Salute. Appreciate Guitar Gabby putting me on this workshop to talk about impact over intention, or like I say, or like to call it, your intentions to make the impact. And I appreciate our single guest here, Brian, who is giving us a little bit of background, who's already telling us how he's going to maneuver his intentions with getting back into the music scene by going to open mics. I'm glad you said that. That is the greatest, one of the best ways to network, to get yourself heard, to get yourself seen, to exchange phone numbers, exchange Instagrams. That was the very first piece of advice that I was given as a professional moving to a new city. By the way, this is Atlanta. This is my third city playing here, of playing music. And so the first thing I had to do was, of course, go to the open mics and get acquainted. And being a female, I had to elbow my way through a little bit and show and prove and show my skill set. Now, oh, that's awesome. That's cool. I wish I was a percussionist. Somebody said they're a percussionist too. I wish I was. I love rhythm. As a pianist, the rhythm is a part of my playing and improvisation. So I always listen to percussionists, what type of rudiments, what type of paradiddles they're doing to the music. It influences my playing. So shouts out to the drummers and to the percussionists out there. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I love you, Brian, for getting out there representing Stick Boys. Now, we were talking again about getting out there. I want to start with talking about our intentions as musicians, period. Why are we here? Music is the great invisible sound. We are manifesting something from the invisible and bringing it to the natural. That is a gift. That is something that is supernatural. And it's like, what do you do with that when you know you have it? So majority of the people who I talk to are musicians or singers. The first thing you think about when it comes to you in music, you have a vision. And you have a vision of either A, yourself playing somewhere, playing with pop artists, or it's some type of fantastical something that's putting you in a position that says, I'm going to display my gift and I'm going to express myself. And I like to explore that with people because that is your intention. I don't care if you feel like, you know, you're like, oh, I want my skill set to be bomb. I want to be the greatest guitarist, but you are actually wanting to be famous and you are putting more time and energy on fame. Those are your intentions. Now, you may say you want to, you know, have a great skill set and be a great guitarist, but your actions are going to, you know, precede, are going to complement your intentions, and that's going to make the impact. So I like to, you know, highlight that aspect as well. Excuse me. Let me get this off my phone here. Okay, thank you. Appreciate y'all. So again, what does that look like for you? What is the intention? And then methodically taking those steps to fulfill that vision or to fulfill that dream and to make it a reality. So we know as musicians, you're going to have a certain skill set to get in certain places. You can't be, not saying it doesn't happen. There are prodigal people who can kill the piano in their instrument within 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I'm not knocking that, but there is going to have some experience in order to get to those places. So what are you intending to do about that to make that impact? You're going to work on your skill set. You're going to go to the open mics and get around certain people. You're going to go to networking events because that's going to bring you that much closer to what you've seen. And even with that intention, those things change as we get older, as we change, as our mind changes, our values change, and those intentions might change because mine have changed about 3 or 4 or 5 times. I ain't gonna lie, you know, when you're coming into the music industry, you do see the stage first and you wanna be like, oh, I wanna be out in forefront. But then I found there are better ways to make impact without having to be famous and make money without having to be famous or mainstream. So it's just changing your mindset to even find those little avenues that are going to complement what you're seeing. So that intention, you have to stick to that and you can't be moved from it. Because in the music industry, it's very easy to get discouraged. It's very easy to somebody control and manipulate your gift and what you're coming to offer with. And maybe you have something original and they may be too authoritative of what you're bringing. just examples like that, where your attention has to be sound. Otherwise, you'll be swayed by every which way and trying to chase money and do all these things that's probably not going to be benefit to you at the end. I'm going to read a quote by the great Sonny Rollins, and he says, and this is going to sound so funny, but my highest place musically was not about playing for a crowd. I played a couple of concerts early on where I was out in the open in the afternoon. I was able to look up in the sky and I felt communication. I felt that I was a part of something, not the crowd, but something bigger. And again, just exploring that, exploring what that means for you. Even if you want to be famous, even if people are like, oh, I just want to show that I can tink a piano, but I really want the plane tickets and I really want the zoom that comes with it. And that's okay. You're going to work towards that. But you are a part of something bigger. It's great to explore what that bigger is for you. Because again, this is such a powerful medium. You need to be careful and need to be intentional with what you're going to do with that gift. So I appreciate Sonny Rollins saying that and giving us that insight. He also said in another article that he was a person that chased his sound. And he was one of the great improvisation jazz and saxophonists. And he's in his 90s. Before he retired, he was still trying to chase a sound. So this is something that's elusive, but he intended this whole time to find that sound. That was his career, just trying what he was hearing, trying to match that up with his skill set. That was his intention. And again, he's, reputable, one of the best, one of the highest regarded jazz saxophonists and musicians. And to look at that as a great example, why are we here? What am I doing this for? How do I set my mind to work and walk that out? Which leads to confidence and confidence. Your intention to be confident, even if you got to fake it till you make it. That's going to lead to confidence. And I'm going to tell you the difference here right now. So you can have confidence and you can have a certain skill set and you're like, ooh, I can work this out. I got this tune, I'll work this. But then there's certain times where you have to up the ante and you might not have the skill set. You might not know the tune. You might be inexperienced. Now, what does that look like? Your confidence got to step in. I know some people don't, believe in a higher power. I'm just saying that as something bigger than the human level, something supernatural coming in and taking over. And really displaying your gifts and your talents. And you have to build those things up. You have to make the intention to be confident in your work. Just like, I know I'm going to use jazz a lot, but I'm using music that requires a lot of on-the-spotness and improvisation. And jazz is one of those things. And you sit there and fumble and you're going to look at your face and they're going to be like, well, she doesn't have the confidence. We're not going to be able to pull this off. So there you've already lost your impact because you didn't have the intention of being confident and saying, I have this. One thing with music, the way to get better, the way with growth is through adversity. Unfortunately, that's how it comes every time. There's something that I've never played before, I haven't experienced, or I haven't played with certain people. That's an adverse thing, and I have to overcome it, and I have to have the confidence that I can execute that. When, we're playing certain crowds and the crowd is dead, and we're not getting any feedback. I watch Gabby, she'll tap into her confidence, not just the confidence, not that we're just here, but I'm tapping into something higher than I to bring in the people and bring in the medium to use the music to engage. And that's great impact right there. The intention of building up your confidence so you can make an impact. Build up your confidence by what? Skill set. Going to the keyboard, going to the whatever, making sure you work out what's tough. So when you're ready, that confidence will be there and it will just be there and flourish. And you can just play right then and there. Because that right there catches a lot of people up. Just being in situations that you haven't been in. But, preparation meets opportunity and you'll kill it and you'll make that impact. So I think that's really important to understand confidence and your confidence. And with music in the industry, you got to have a little bit more to push it and to make it and to make yourself seen and heard. Confidence. Now, one thing I want to talk about, intentions. Again, we're at the beginning you're setting yourself, you're setting your vision up, you are getting the necessary equipment that you need, whatever professional tools that you need to go to the next level. One thing that we really don't talk about as musicians is our mental health and what those intentions, and what that looks like and how it moves our intentions, how it's negative to our mindset. And it could lead us into digressing as well as quitting and not, pushing through to the level of confidence so we can, keep walking out our desires in our career. And we don't really speak about that enough. We are a unique fellowship where we're vulnerable, right? We're talking about vulnerable topics. We are using our own creativity and we're exposing that to the public. So not only am I telling you my lyrics, I'm letting you hear how I'm putting the sound together. And it's just very vulnerable. And those coming into that, it could just lead to some heavy thoughts and heaviness. And we have a lot of musicians, singers and artists, we deal with depression. We deal with heavy thoughts, and how to really overcome that and how that ruins our intentions. That's why I said you have to go back to those intentions and see if they are changing and see if they're revising them or if something else needs to happen, because the big D will come in, and the big D comes with messages that says you're not good enough. It gives you self-doubt, even though you built up a career, even though things are getting better and better and better, that will come in and will tell you a whole bunch of lies. You know what I mean? And then you have to revisit your intention again and say, no, that's not it. I'm really going to push through this. And when it happens, I'll be ready. Just be confident about it, but just recognizing the voice that will choke the faith of what you're trying to do. And depression gets us really, really hard. We're already trying to live. You're already trying to put food on the table. Gas is $7.29. You got all these things. And on top of that, I can't get my single out. I'm only making 22 cents on Spotify. I mean, there's so many things I could just like, and that little seed of intention, that little seed that says, nah, I'm gonna stick it through. You're gonna see some great impact on how to overcome adversity in your life. I don't care what anybody says. The music industry is no punk. You got to be built for it tough, for the rejections, for the criticisms, for the misogyny, for the discrimination sometimes, for not being picked, jealousy, envy, everything that comes with that. How do you overcome that adversity, that adversity? Again, to grow, you're going to go back to your intentions. This is for me. You know what I mean? This is my gift. This is how I want to express myself. And we know that everybody, thanks to social media or anyone, will want to connect with you based on what they hear and based on what you're saying. It's inevitable, and it's just hard to encourage yourself when you just have all these downers to that try to absorb our joy in what we do, because music is supposed to be joyous. It's supposed to be uplifting. It gives us, a cleansing, so to speak. It's that powerful. It can make us fight. It can make us love. It can make us get us, do things. This is a family video. It can make us do quite a bit of things. And so you really have to take control of your mentality surrounding that, and overcoming those negative aspects, because it's inevitable. They are inevitable. And to know that, see that, and then still hold firm is something you definitely have to solidify in your mind. And I recommend therapy. Like, I recommend therapists to musicians all the time. Like, we need it. Sometimes the song ain't gonna cut it. Sometimes being with people is not gonna cut it. We need those conversations, and who knows, it will bring about better music, and it will bring about a better change to get to where you need to go. Because like I said, it could choke your vision and choke what you really want out of this. But everything's for you. Everything's for grab, right? All righty. We talked about competition. That's right, doubt, criticism, growth. Now, I want to go back to adversity. Again, in our lives, and how that's going to, I don't know, misery loves company, I guess so. So you definitely have to get around certain mindsets. If you're having the intention of being somewhere big, you can't hang around people who still playing piddle paddle. You're gonna have to get mentored or get behind some of the personalities and some of the talent so you can get inspired. Inspiration breeds intention. You know what I mean? Because if not, you're gonna be jealous, you're gonna be envious. If you're not inspired, you're gonna have the opposite effect. So when you are saying, hey, I have this vision for myself, get around those people. You're gonna find them at open mics. You're gonna find them at houses of worship or wherever you're gonna go, blues, whatever. Wherever you're trying to go, get around that. That's the only way it's going to breed excellence in you. And then whatever that skill you see, if you see somebody's more excellent than you, study that person. Music is a language. So we're just borrowing language from each other until you develop your own way of expression, right? Pretty much. So that's the goal, is to get around certain things, certain places, types, mentalities in music in order to get your confidence and your confidence to express yourself. And you just got to be around that mind. You have to be around that mindset. As a serious musician, as a serious artist, you have to, because everything else, unfortunately, the public blows our skills off. Like, oh, they just play music. Like you know, invested thousands of dollars and thousands of hours into something, and it's totally just overlooked as and dismissed as something. So you have to hold on to that. I think that's absolutely crazy. That drives me crazy when people are dismissive of that. But it's like, you like music. You were listening to music on the way over here. How'd you think that's that's happening? So that's a good thing. Like I said, develop your own language, hang around the people, listen to the certain music that speaks your language. If you like classic rock and you want to, you know, have a better skill set in classic rock, then you're going to keep listening to those artists until you find your niche, until you find your voice. You're going to borrow from, you know, here and there in order to develop and express yourself. I did say that earlier. I wanted to show a couple of my influences, the people who keep me influenced, to keep me saying, you know, I really want to reach these levels. I'll show a picture here later, but on the collage is Stevie Wonder, Prince. I have Kanye West on there. I have Jack White of the White Stripes, if anybody familiar with them. Who else do I have on there? Excuse me, I know I keep going in and out. George Duke, Patrice Rushen, who is a great R&B artist. And I have Duke Ellington on there. Now, what they all have in common, they're fusion players. Their music is all fused. Dope. Oh my gosh, I missed him when he came here to Atlanta, and I wanted to see him, but I was working. Okay. Does he ever come back to the high school and give back? That would be dope.
A few years ago he did. Yeah, he's very active in the Detroit community, and he did a concert there several years ago. He graduated a year before I did. I don't recall him, but I know he was in the music department, so we probably crossed paths, but he looked much different now than he did in high school.
Dope. That's exciting to hear. I just appreciate his amplification. Like, that's an art that he has with the way he amplifies his guitars and way has them sounding. And this last album was incredible. So I'm a big fan of the White Stripes, Jack White. Like I said, I had Kanye on there. I had Duke. All these fusion artists, because that's what I like. I like artists that are able to speak to the the art heads, and speak to the pop heads and the mainstream heads. To me, that is just a peculiar gift, to have an encompassing sound where you are reaching so many people. And to me, those artists really project that and really display that. And then if you go see them at the nightclub, they killing on the piano and they killing on the sax, just dirty, just gross. But then they were able to still hold their own on the charts. And to me, that is just absolutely fascinating. That's a language that I like to speak. That's what puts me with the TxLips as well, like rocking out, but you can still listen to it. It's still palatable, and you can still rock out and headbang with us at the same time, like those things. So that's my language, and I had to develop that, listening to these artists, being influenced by certain things. And that's the type of music I play today, is a lot of fusion. It's going to be jazz, it's going to be R&B, it's going to be rock. It's going to be loud, and it's going to be great. It's going to be sounding good. But I don't take that credit for myself. That's me developing my language, listening to other people speak theirs. And so that intention has to be there to develop your ear, your mindset, and your skill set is listening to other people's languages. And that makes a great, 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 great impact. Okay. Okay, again, I want to emphasize on the discomfort that music has. And that could, again, be by situations, people bringing uncomfortable circumstances to you. You can have your own anxiety that's self-sabotaging you from going to the next level. But when you are hitting those things where you're feeling like, oh, just know you're getting ready for growth. Like, it's so weird. Anytime adversity is like right there with you, as far as a musician, you're getting ready to do something else. And it's always a preparation, always. Everything in your life is going to prepare you for the next thing. So it's like, we can't be dismissive. We can't be really defeated because something is ahead. Music is that much powerful. It's like, it leads you sometimes like, oh, I have this. And I'm like, no, I need to follow this. As Sonny Rollins was saying, there's something much bigger than I, and I have to make sure this comes out. It's not even a vanity thing. It's like something in me, it just, I have to be saying this and contribute to the earth and contribute to the sound in the heavens and be okay with that. And we just need to really listen to that. And the adversity helps you get to that point, helps you break through to something else. Because otherwise we won't do it. If we want to play C major scale and we can tear up every song in C major, we would. And everything would sound lackluster and dull. If we could just be like, with church key, A flat, E flat, I just want to play in that now, and I'll press transpose. But you'll never get better. And you might not fulfill that vision that you saw and intended to, because you won't go through the adversity of learning, or you won't go through the adversity of growing. And whatever that means. And I say that in business, just not your skill set. I'm talking about opening your mouth in business meetings, and knowing what you want, knowing how to deal with people in the music industry. You have to fashion that. You have to be very outspoken and very direct with what you want and how you want to do that, because it's very easy for people to detour what you're trying to do for their benefit and what they want. So all of what we're doing in music is partnership. It kills me that it feels like you working for somebody, right? Slave and the master. These things that we're working for companies, but it's actually partnership. I got the skill, I got the the ham, and you got the burger. But it comes into an authoritative thing sometimes, and you just really have to hold fast with your tongue and with your spirit and your head and say, no, that's not what I want. This is not what I'm intending. This is what I like to do. And that's tough sometimes. You might have friends and, it's business, or we have camaraderie going on, but at the end of the day, it's going to be business, because you're going to be short, and people don't care, because they're looking after themselves. So that's a really good way to look at, like, okay, I'm having a hard time with these people. I'm going to grow to the next level. I'm going to learn my lesson right here, and I'm going to the next thing where I don't have to deal with this mess, or this song was real hard. I messed up, I sucked at the concert. God, I'm going to go back and I'm going to work on that. And guess what? You won't suck no more at whatever you just did. Adversity in music, like, it goes hand in hand to grow to the things that we are uncomfortable with, until you get comfortable, until you get skillful at it. And then you'll go on to the next thing. There's always going to be something that's going to challenge you. And then you have to see if you want to expend that energy or not, to be intentional to go through with that. Yeah, so I appreciate, speaking about these things. I'm sorry those slides couldn't be shown up as I was speaking about it, but impact over intention. No, it's intention makes your impact. Why are you here? What are you going to do with this? What does that look like? What does the steps look like? And then holding firm to that. Right? Because you don't have to, there's an old adage, or there's an old saying, like, the harvest is going to come regardless. If you're seed plant, if you're, sowing seed, then you're going to get something. It's just not being discouraged enough to quit sowing. But it's inevitable. It's always a growing process. And to know that at the very, very beginning, I'm going to get into something and know it's going to flourish. I just have to keep at it and know it's going to flourish. I just have to step over adversity when it comes, and be confident, be confident, and knowing these things are going to fill my purpose and the vision that I see for myself with music. Let me see here. Are we still on here? Where are we at for time? I'm sorry, I don't have a...
We have about 20 more minutes.
Okay. 20 more minutes. So I'm gonna give an example here. My intentions have recently changed. On top of playing with the TxLips, I play in 3 other bands, and it's not necessarily like I am contracted with them, but it's not necessarily I'm working for them, but they're different bands for different reasons. And now I'm like, is that what I really want to do? Is, I love playing on stages, big stages. Recently just opened up for Monica. We just opened up for Keith Sweat. We're going to do a couple of shows here. So I'm performing in big venues. And that was a goal when I first came in here. I was like, I want to intend to play in big venues and be on the stage and have this sound. Cool. Now I got here, now my intentions are changing. Now I'm like, I don't want to be on stage playing this type of music anymore. I want to be on stage playing this type of music with this type of comfort, wearing these type of clothes, playing with these type of people. So when I saw the vision, I said, okay, well, how do I go about that? And just rearranging my intentions on how to do that. Writing it down first. Like, okay, I would like this for myself. I want to give that to myself and grant that to myself for my happiness and my joy. And I want it to look like this. There's no hard feelings. It's not, I don't like your band. This sucks. It's nothing like that. It's your intentions and how you're going to make the impact, the best way that you're going to make that impact and your happiness and your joy. So it's just like, let me switch it up and let me change it here and reevaluate. So I'm not giving up on the bands. You know what I mean? I'm not like, oh, I'm done with it. I'm like, I need a shift. My intentions are changing, and the biggest impact I know I would make is not in this type of area. It's going to be in this. Girl, it's hard to, you know what I mean? But again, and I don't know if I should say this is a gender thing. It shouldn't be. There are more personalities that are more sensitive with trying to help groups. And I'm one of those personalities. Like, I'm coming into a group and like, we need this, and this. And I'll totally forsake sometimes what I'm trying to do in order to benefit what the group is doing. And then I'll end up being not happy because those weren't my intentions. Those are that person's intentions. And I'm living out what they want and what they're trying to do. And that's not bringing me wholeness. So I have to reevaluate, stop, look, and listen. And you're entitled to that. That's the thing. The pressure to be like, nah, you can't because it's your livelihood. The devil is a liar. No. Things will be provided for, because my peace is making the way. So let me find my peace. No hard feelings. And let me go ahead and look at my intentions and move in a different way. And then you'll move in a different way and it will happen. And you'll make that impact. And when that season is no longer serving, you'll make another impact. You'll detour and be like, I need to do something else, or I need to put this down for a while. It should be a fun loving thing with music. We shouldn't be out here stressed. We shouldn't be out here downtrodden with this precious gift that we've given us, that was given to us. We should come here with full confidence. We should be, because a lot of people don't have this gift. And I'm not saying that to be boastful. That's just the truth of it. A lot of people can't hear music as somebody's talking and you can hear a whole song. You can hear parts and you can hear whatever, and somebody can have a whole conversation for you. And they're looking at you like, what are you listening to? And you're like, I'm listening to music. That is so weird, but that's a real thing for people. So it lets you know you're already unique. And just curtailing, again, what you want to do and how you want to make that impact with that. And that's spanning across everything, and it's going to be positive or going to be negative. You decide how you want to make that impact with your intentions, how you want to carry that out. I feel like I need to keep speaking some more. I guess me not having slides is kind of like, ugh. Now I have to rush, but that's okay. Mr. Brian, are you still on?
I'm still here, yeah.
Okay, you have any questions or anything we will want to discuss or looking at? Anything you heard tonight?
Well, actually, I thought that you did a pretty good job summing up some of the important issues for me. Like, I'm always looking to try to find people who are good so I can get better. You
Yeah.
know, you don't get better if you don't push yourself a little bit, you know. I mean, you can, especially if you're playing drums, you can sit on your drum kit and play all the fancy things you want. But if you're not playing with other people, you're not playing, you know what I mean? So
Exactly.
I agree 100% with that. I thought, you know, what you said was right on as far as that went. So I think that's real important for me anyway. So
No,
basically I'm agreeing with you.
yeah, I'm
Sorry, go ahead.
excited for definitely. I'm excited for you to get back out there. But like you're saying, that language, if somebody's saying something in slang, you're like, what does that mean? Or what are you saying? And you're curious about how they're implementing that slang and they're playing. I'm interested in
Yeah.
that thrives. That
Well, if
you know,
you're a drummer, you got to learn to play along with what the band's playing. You can't just go out
Yeah.
and bang out somebody's solo that you know or something that you want
right.
to play. I mean, do you know you know who Jeff Porcaro was? Famous drummer for Toto and the famous session musician. And he
Absolutely.
played on zillions of songs, and he's considered, you know, one of the top before he passed away young. But he never played solos. I mean, I play a solo, but I mean, I guess what I'm saying is you want to play with a band. You don't just want to
Yeah.
be out there by yourself. I mean, that's the fun of playing music, that you're playing
Right.
with other people, you know. So that part, I thought you were right on. So for whatever it's worth.
Yeah, I appreciate you tuning in and listening. Making sure I'm not talking out the side of my neck, but I love connecting with, you know, other musicians. Like I said, we're a special fraternity or a special fellowship that knows each other's quirks and peculiarities that we have as musicians, and just trying to encourage one another to keep out there and keep going. I am on social media, all platforms, Instagram, Facebook, at Planet Venus, PLANET Venus, VNESS. So yes, please follow me. You're going to see just one post under there. Don't be alarmed, because one of my intentions is I get a lot of work by word of mouth. So you're going to see, you don't see a lot of me playing or a lot of me being out there, but I get work, and the word of mouth is just as powerful. That's on purpose. That's what I do so far. Not saying that I don't post or anything like that, but here locally, I have a strong word of mouth, and I appreciate that. So, and I'm not a good poster, but I'm a good poster on stories. I'm not a good poster on like the grid and anything like that. So appreciate that. Yes, please follow me. Planet Venus, keyboardist here. Appreciate y'all having me today. Mr. Brian, good luck to you on your endeavor. May you find the people and the tribe that you need to flourish so you can play your heart's desire. I really speak that blessing. I really hope you find that.
Thanks.